His 6'11" Kevin Durant build is an unstoppable offensive threat on NBA 2K24. Now, Kevin Durant has been hooping for the Phoenix Suns, and after seeing him drop 38 last night, I had to put out this build. But with all of that out of the way, let's get started with today's video. Now, gentlemen, it is the holiday season, and what better gift to give to basketball fans than a high-quality jersey that you could buy at pristinejerseys.com. I mean, take a look at these jerseys. These jerseys look fantastic, and they would be a perfect gift to give to your loved ones this holiday season. Now, with all that out of the way, man, let's actually get started with the video. All right, so when it comes to making this build, you can realistically make it at two positions. You can either do it at small forward or power forward. I ended up choosing to make it at small forward so I can get the normal dribble pull-up, which is for some reason available at every height when you make a small forward. Now, moving on to the physicals, we're going to have a 6'11" height, 210 pounds for the weight, and a 7'5" wingspan. That 7'5" wingspan is going to be a perfect sweet spot to make sure you actually get a decent wingspan on your player to match KD while still having great shooting. All right, so now starting with the finishing, you're going to have a 91 driving layup, which is going to get you slithery on gold, an 84 driving dunk, which is going to get you a bunch of really great dunk packages, which include the LeBron James dunk animations. And then we're also going to have a 92 post control so we can get unpluckable on gold, as well as other badges like post fade phenom and post spin technician on Hall of Fame. All right, and now let's take a look at some of these finishing highlights. And man, listen, being able to get the LeBron dunk animations on a 6'11" is some nuts stuff. Look at this right here, drive it to the paint, hit him with the meter dunk. That meter is full. The meter's massive. I know I had finishing takeover, but now take a look at this right here. Running back baseline. Hey, that's just a good dunk animation, man. That's the LeBron dunk right here. Get a nice little reverse animation, and you can just finish through contact on this build. It's actually pretty crazy right here. Drive it to the lane. That's just an easy layup, man. Come on now. But yeah, no, man. As you can see, the build is pretty elite when it comes to finishing, especially when you're driving to the rim. You can just get some really aggressive dunk animations, and when having that 91 driving layup, that's also going to be super nice. All right, so now moving on to the shooting, we're going to have an 87 mid-range shot as well as an 83-point shot. Now, we ended up going with an 87 for a very specific reason. That is what you have to have at least in order to get the Kevin Durant base, and I can't make a Kevin Durant build without being able to have access to Kevin Durant's jump shot. Now, if you don't care for the jumper, you can drop it down to 86, get post fade phenom on Hall of Fame. But again, man, it's KD. It can't be a KD build without KD's jumper. All right, so now let's move on to the shooting highlights of this video. And listen, man, this is going to be the longest portion of the video. Driving to the mid-range area with sharpshooting takeover. We're just shooting over whoever's guarding us at this point right here in isolation, fading to that mid-range area again. Stop reaching and put a hand up at least, bro. You gotta contest my shot in order to make me miss. And even then, man, I probably still ain't missing, man. Listen, you're 6'11". You're gonna be able to shoot over people. You have silver blinder, silver dead eye. You're gonna be great as a spot up as well. And one badge that I definitely do think is underrated this year is guard up, and you're going to be able to get that on gold with this build. Whenever somebody fails to contest at a decent amount of time, or they just don't put a hand up at all, guard up is going to activate if they're late on the closeout, even if they put their hand up, or if they just don't put their hand up at all, man. And it's just a really great badge, especially on a KD build, because that's just what's going to allow you to shoot over people if they just don't get a good contest. Now, although this build only gets silver blinder, silver dead eye, those badges still do work pretty well in combination with badges like guard up that I mentioned previously. And as you guys probably know, Kevin Durant builds are always one of the hardest builds to make every single year, because you have to make something that's like 6'10", 6'11", that can dribble, and something that can shoot really well while also having a good wingspan, because KD doesn't have little arms. He's got like a 7'5" wingspan. Listen, man, I couldn't show you guys all those really great shooting highlights without giving you guys a jump shot, because when I don't, you guys always ask, so I gotta make sure I give it to y'all. But the jumper is going to be very simple. Like I mentioned, you're going to get Kevin Durant base. Release 1's going to be KD, and release 2 is going to be Tim Duncan, just to speed up the jump shot a little bit. But the blend is going to be 32 to 68 in favor of KD. You see right here, we get an A in defensive immunity, release height, and timing stability. Only a B- in release speed, but that's just something as expected when you're using the KD releases. But again, man, it's a really good jump shot. All right, so now moving on to the playmaking, you're going to get a 75 pass accuracy, which gets you break starter on silver, as well as the Domantas Sabonis and John Moran passing styles. For the ball handle, we're going with 70 to unlock all of the pro dribble animations, aside from obviously pro dribble style. And then with the speed with ball, we're going to get a 67, so we can get triple strike on silver, as well as big driver on Hall of Fame. All right, so now let's get to these playmaking highlights. And listen, man, 75 pass accuracy is going to be very nice, especially when you're throwing the break. It's gonna work. It's gonna get the job done. It's not 90, it's not 87. I know I say this all the time, but that's just literally how 75 pass accuracy is, man. It's gonna be good in the half court. It's gonna be good if you run in the secondary break. Doesn't matter, man. It's going to be a good passing rating. And 75 pass accuracy just fits a KD build perfectly, because he's not like a super elite passer, but he's good. He's really good at his position. And now let me show you guys all the animations that I'm going to be using on this build, or what I was using on the build. As you can see, we're using normal dribble style, pro signature size up, and you can pretty much just read the rest. And yeah, I mean, all these animations are really good, especially for a 6'11" to be able to get these annies. It's some pretty nice stuff. Now, with that being said, man, I've given you guys the jump shot. I've given you guys the dribble move. So if you see anybody in the comments down below asking for either for this build, man, I need you to harass them a little bit, man, because I'm getting tired of seeing people asking for that when I put it in the vid. All right, so now moving on to the defense, we're gonna get a 74 interior defense to get post move lockdown on bronze, a 77 perimeter defense, a 60 steal to get interceptor on bronze, a 78 block to get bronze anchor as well as silver chase down artist, and then a 77 defensive rebound so we can get bronze rebound chaser as well as silver box out beast. Now the defense on this build is going to be pretty solid, man. That 77 perimeter defense at the height of 6'11" is actually some pretty nasty stuff. And don't forget, you have long arms on this build. You got a 7'5" wingspan, so you're gonna be able to get in passing lanes, you're gonna be able to get blocks, stay in front of your defender, just do everything you need to do to play good defense, just like how KD is. You know, he's a pretty decent rim protector, and he is overall just a really good defender. But now let's take a look at this build fully maxed out. Just a couple things I do want to mention when it comes to the physicals. Speed and acceleration are maxed out, strength's at a 74, so you can get things like bulldozer and movable enforcer on bronze. Now, if there were any changes that I would make to this build, maybe you could drop the driving layup down to like an 80, but again, this is a Kevin Durant build. Like, he has a really good layup package, so I mean, you got to have a super high driving layup. Shooting's perfect. I mean, it's the best you could do with this wingspan. I really realistically wouldn't go with any other wingspan either for this build. This is like the perfect wingspan to use. All right, so now coming out of the My Player Builder, you're going to get the player comparisons of Scottie Pippen, Kevin Durant, and Paul George, and you're going to get the build name 3-level threat. As if you expected anything else at this point, I don't know. Now that's gonna be pretty much it for today's build video, but let's say you want to stick around a little bit for the life update. I got something for you, man. I don't usually do these at the end of videos, but I just want to put this one out really quickly, man. Listen, I am super appreciative of everything that's happened to me and on this channel over the past 2 years that I've been doing content, because now I'm officially in a financial position to where I can actually quit my job and start working full-time as a content creator, which honestly is something that I never, when I started this, could even have imagined that being possible. Like, I'm now being put in a position where my financial stability is like good enough that where I could just work at home and do what I enjoy, playing 2K, making content for other people, working with 2K labs. I'm working with 2K labs now. Like, if you would have told me this stuff like 2 years ago when I started making content, that I would be working with some of like the biggest channels and I would be working full-time on my own, just doing my own content, I genuinely would not believe you. But honestly, man, it's just an absolute blessing at this point. Like, I really do not could have ever, I can't even put the words together. I could not have fathomed this situation ever happening, and this is only the beginning. I have so many more ideas that I want to do. I want to start doing a lot more of like live commentary type of content where I'm using like webcam and doing stuff like that. I want to do more streams as well. But again, man, listen, I appreciate you guys so much for getting me into the position where I am at now. And yeah, man, it's just unreal. Am I trying to ramble on to hit that 8-minute mark? You bet your sweet bippy I am. But hey, guess what? We hit it. And now I am out of here. Goodbye.